October is Estate Planning Awareness Month, and as the month comes to an end, Allison Kierman of Kierman Law says any month is a good time to start an estate plan. And we were talking about what are estate plans, because some people think it's a will, and some people think you have to have billions of dollars to have one, but both are not true, but both work together. Money does work with an estate too, right?
Yes, absolutely. People do think estate planning is fancy, right? But estate planning really just means you're organized, right? You're organized in life to take care of things that you need, and you've organized things so after you've passed or become incapacitated, your family or loved ones know what's important to you and what they're supposed to do.
Yeah.
Sort of giving directions.
Yeah. And so with the will is actually in estate planning, right?
A will is a piece of it, yes. For some people, it's the only piece. For others, it's an inconsequential piece. If you have a minor child, it's sort of the most important document you could ever execute.
Yeah, and I said, right there, you're supposed to have billions of dollars to have an estate, which isn't true. It's when you start collecting assets, you start having things that you want to be left to people, or like you said, to be organized, to have no one fight over, I guess. Is that kind of what you want to say with an estate?
That's right. I think people don't realize, or maybe you do, right? Nothing goes better than family and money, right?
Yeah.
There's always going to be a fight. Who gets mom's jewelry, who gets mom's engagement ring is usually one of the biggest fights most people go through in their life. So it's really just sorting through how to avoid those fights. What are your plans? What are your expectations? It's not always about money. I think of it as goals.
Yeah.
I mean,
so as goals going through, and this is what's so interesting, you talk about goals, because we have some stats here that are very interesting here. And so as we show them here, tell me about the stats that we have.
So most people don't have an estate plan, right? So 60 to 65% of people do not have an estate plan. They either don't want to think about passing, they don't think that they have anything of value. In Arizona, that's hard, because if you own a house in Arizona, it goes to probate, unless you have an estate plan. So that's where I go back to what's your goal. If your goal is to avoid probate, to make things simple, to take care of your family, you should invest the time in putting together some sort of plan for your loved ones.
Yeah, and estate planning doesn't have to be so serious. We were talking about some fun ones that people do. I have one friend who their estate plan is where it's left to their pet, and no one knows who's in charge of the pet. They just know that someone will be. Hopefully maybe me, because there's a lot of money there. But you have those kind of estate plans too that are put together.
Absolutely, and that's where it comes back to your goal. If your goal is to take care of the most important thing in your life, and that's your pet, then absolutely, we should put that into place. I have people who do silly things, like if you didn't show up for Sunday dinner, you can't be in the estate plan. Or if you want mom's ring, you're gonna rock, paper, scissor it and see who inherits. Yeah. It doesn't have to be sad.
Yeah. What about after you die and your digital presence? What's that all about, with people understanding that?
You know, our whole world these days is on our phone. For some people, that's photography, and that could be your profession. It could be your music library. If you want to pass that to someone, there are things you could put in place to make that happen. Sometimes it's also just passwords. I had a client, and she didn't realize her front door locked from her husband's phone, and she didn't know the password.
Wow.
That was a problem for her.
And so that means she had to go through all this legal stuff to get it, and by law, the phone company don't have to give that to you, correct?
That's correct.
So, and you're saying that's also too, if you are getting sick or getting older, to have something in place so that that could be taken care of.
Absolutely. You know, it's simple. I was at Walgreens this weekend, and there was a man trying to pick up a prescription for his mom, and the pharmacist wouldn't give it to him because he doesn't have the legal right to pick up medicines for his mom without a power of attorney. Yeah. So just those little things that you don't realize could like get you in trouble.
So, okay, you just said family member. Do they have to be actually a family member? Can it be friends that you can leave control to and different things in your estate plan?
Absolutely, right? It could be a partner, long-term, short-term. It could be a friend. In my estate plans, we actually have a friend handling things if something happens to us when we're young, because they're the most responsible with money in kind of our lives. Yeah. So it can be anybody that you choose. And you can pay companies to do it too. There are people who do it professionally.
Yeah. And we have to say, don't be scared of estate planning. Doesn't mean you're going to die the next day. It just means down the line, if something happens, whatever, things are taken care of, right?
Right. I would say the good thing about my job is everything I do gets used at some point.
Yeah.
Right? So you know you're going to use it, but it's also like insurance. You're going to do it and you're going to pay for it, and then you won't need it.
There it is. Perfect. Allison, tell where they can find out more about, of course, estate planning.
So I have a ton of information and videos on my website at KiermanLaw.com. And if anybody wants to talk personally about their lives, they can always call me.
There you go. Thank you very much for being here.
Thank you so much.
There you go.